very warm welcome to the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex, your show where we bring you important unstart questions that are asked by the members of the Rajya Sabha in the 250th session and the response given by the government in written format. I'm Kriti Mishra and joining me is my colleague Akhilesh Suman. So Akhilesh, let's commence the Question Hour show. And the first question in this edition is from member Ami Yagnik, and this one pertains to the Ministry of Law and Justice. And the member has asked about the pendency of cases in the courts across country and the mechanism to ensure fast disposal of these cases.
Really, Kriti, it is a very important question given the fact that we have a large population and Supreme Court is not too big to cater all the issues and all the criminal cases. And so the government has answered total number of cases pending in Supreme Court as on 1st November 2019 is 59,867. It's a huge number. The government is committed to a speedy disposal of cases and reduction in pendency of cases to improve access to justice in line with the mandate under Article 39A of Constitution. The Union government has taken several initiatives to provide an ecosystem for faster disposal of cases by the judiciary. The National Mission for Justice Delivery and Legal Reforms, established in 2011 by the government, has adopted a coordinated approach to effect for phased liquidation of arrears and pendency at various levels of judicial administration through many strategic initiatives, including improving infrastructure, court halls and residential units for judicial officers of district and subordinate courts, leveraging information and communication technology for better justice delivery, filling up of vacant positions of judges in high courts and Supreme Courts, reduction in pendency through follow-up by arrear committee at district, high court and Supreme Court level, emphasis on alternate dispute resolution and initiative to fast-track a special type of cases. So many actions have to be taken. The number of district and subordinate courts has increased from 19,518 in 2014 to 23,566 at present. As on 30 September 2019, 704 fast-track courts are functional for heinous crimes, crimes against women and children, family and matrimonial disputes, etc. Further, government has approved a scheme for setting up of 1,023 fast-track special courts across the country for expeditious disposal of pending 1,66,882 cases under Rape and POSCO Act.
In fact, Akhilesh, that's a very important answer given by the government. But we had the questioner, Ami Yagnik, on our show, and this is what she had to say on government's response to her question. Listen in. And joining us on the Question Hour show is questioner Dr. Ami Yagnik. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, ma'am, and thank you so much for talking to us. You asked a very pertinent unstart question about pendency of cases in various courts in India. How important is the issue?
I feel that it's a very important issue and many would join in this sentiment. The fact being that we use this slogans like justice delayed is justice denied, tariq pe tariq. So it's all kind of describing our legal system or judicial system. We may not feel something great or we may not just bask in that kind of whatever feeling that gives us. But the fact is little ironic that when people go to the courts and they access the judicial system for getting justice, there are delays, and because there are delays somewhere along the line, they kind of feel frustrated. Why this long journey? And that is why the delays become important. The delays become important because the courts are clogged. Whether you talk of the Honorable Apex Court or you talk the various high courts or you take the subordinate courts, whether they are magistrates courts, family courts, civil courts, all of them have got a huge backlog. If you say, I think as per 2016 survey or a study, there are almost about 60,000 pending cases in the Honorable Apex Court, almost 40 lakhs in all the various high courts, and 2.48 crore cases in the subordinate courts. Now, on one hand, lawmakers make different laws, we talk about legal reforms whenever there's some new subject, because we move in a technological era. So we bring new laws. With it comes also the corresponding litigation. People want to go to courts. So all this coupled with the fact that we don't have judicial reforms. So this topic is not being addressed, or this malaise is not being addressed. Well, even if we bring more judges, how do you curtail the legal processes? How do you stop people from arguing days and days and days? It doesn't happen in the developed world. I have been to several courts in the developed world, and there's a time limit given to everybody. You make your point because the documents are already there. So all these factors have contributed to this issue, and so instead of getting some solutions, the topic remains alive because we are not able to give a proper solution to this backlog of cases pending in several courts in the country.
So, madam, what is the mechanism to address this very grave issue?
See, first off, when there are multi-pronged approaches we will have to take. You can't put the blame on, say, why the litigants are going to court. You can't put the blame on the judiciary. Well, they are taking a little long. Why do they give adjournments? In the circumstances, they would have to do that kind of accommodation for the litigants. There's a third aspect. You can't blame the multiplicity of levels of appeals and reviews and revisions. You know, you get an order in the lower court. For example, I'll take a family court issue. The woman fights her case. We have come up with free legal aid for her in the late 1990s. So she gets even free legal aid, let's say. She gets help. But the case takes so long. So after maybe say an average of 2.4 years for a particular case, the study says, 3 years, 4 years, she gets some kind of a judgment or an order. Suddenly the other side is going to appeal to the High Court. So she is ultimately kept in the realm of the legal space. And so then if he wins, she would go to the Supreme Court. So that journey, the biological life moves forward along with the case. And that is where I think we should find out whether we need more judges, we need simplicity of procedures, we need case management, we need technology in the courtrooms on a very high level. For example, you can just transmit a document, an order, as soon as the Supreme Court passes the order, it is everywhere on WhatsApp.
Yes.
But do we have that kind of a technology given to everybody in all the courts, equipped with that? And then the case management, and then legal reform for the lawyers. The fraternity runs for the smallest thing to the court. So they also should have from within some legal reforms. I myself am a lawyer, so I'm suggesting it to my fraternity to take up these issues and give it a very grave thought.
The government also talks about setting up fast-track courts across the country.
Well, there has been an experiment earlier. I wouldn't say experiment. There was a phase when we had fast-track courts, but then they were stopped at some point of time. So when again you bring us an additional part in any system, you have a separate kind of a mechanism to bring those ad hoc judges, appoint them, then have some kind of different rosters for them. Then one day you decide that, well, it is only for a small period or a particular time span. That would not solve the problem. It would be better if we have some kind of a proper study that for a certain lakh number of population, we need a certain kind of court structure, whether it is at the metropolitan level, at the criminal level. That's the first place where the judiciary and the people come in touch with it. That is the justice place, the starting point. They are clogged with people. So that is where you need an atmosphere where people would say, "Ke ye to jaldi khatam hota hai. We would like to access the justice system." Now it has become kind of, oh, you have gone to the court, oh, you wait for 5 years, 10 years. So sometimes you feel bad being a part of the whole system that we have to hear this, and we ourselves are not able to come up with any solution.
Absolutely, but you made a very important suggestion. Thank you so much for talking to Rajya Sabha Television, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here.
And the next question is very interesting, Kriti. The question has been asked by member K. Ravindra Kumar, and he is asking Minister of External Affairs whether the government has conveyed its concern to China on One Belt, One Road initiative, that is called BRI in popular parlance. What is the answer of the government?
Well, government's stand on China's One Belt, One Road initiative or the Belt and Road initiative has been clear and consistent for quite some time now. Government's concerns arise from the fact that inclusion of so-called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or the CPEC, which passes through the parts of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, which are under illegal occupation of Pakistan, as a flagship project of this initiative, directly impinges on these issues of sovereignty and territorial integrity of India. And whenever this issue has been raised between both sides, the government has always conveyed its concerns on the matter. Government has also conveyed to the Chinese side its concerns about the activities in areas illegally occupied by Pakistan in the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and has also asked them to cease these activities. Government is also of the firm belief that connectivity initiatives must be based on universally recognized international norms. They must follow principles of openness, transparency and financial responsibility, and must be pursued in a manner that respects sovereignty, integrity, equality and territorial integrity of all other nations. Moving on to the next question, which again pertains to the Ministry of External Affairs, and this one has been asked by member Shashikala Pushpa. And the member has asked whether government has taken any step, particularly at official level as well as by dignitaries holding constitutional posts, to garner support from international community in the effort to obtain permanent membership in United Nations Security Council.
Again, this is very important question, Kriti, given the fact that India's standing in the world is increasing day by day. And the government answers, yes, the government has accorded the highest priority to getting permanent membership for India in an expanded United Nations Security Council. Towards this end, the government has undertaken various initiatives aimed at building international support for India. The matter is consistently taken up during bilateral and multilateral meetings and in discussion with other countries at all the levels, including at the highest level. At the United Nations, India is working alongside other reform-oriented countries through its membership in G4, that is India, Japan, Brazil and Germany, and the L69 group, a cross-regional group of countries from Asia, Africa and Latin America, for building support among the UN member states for expansion of the United Nations Security Council. India is also actively engaged in the ongoing intergovernmental negotiations in the UN on reform of the Security Council. So, Kriti, from External Affairs Ministry, we are coming to Electronics and Information Technology Ministry, and the question has been asked by member Jose K. Money. He is asking whether data provided by the Internet and Mobile Association of India confirms that 66 million Internet users in India are in the age group of 5 to 11 years. Really surprising. What is the answer?
Well, absolutely, Akhilesh, that's a very interesting data, and the answer given by the government is an affirmative. And the government further goes on to say that technological advancement in information and communications technology has brought in a lot of benefits in all walks of life, including for improvement in learning for children. However, like any other technology, the same can also be used by miscreants to lure children. Government has taken a number of steps to protect children from accessing inappropriate content online. Now, these steps include: government blocks the websites containing extreme child sexual abuse material based on Interpol's worst of list shared periodically by Central Bureau of Investigation, or the CBI, which is the national nodal agency for Interpol. The list is shared with the Department of Telecommunications, which then directs major ISPs to block such websites. Also, the Department of Telecom has communicated to all ISPs, requesting them to make suitable arrangement to spread awareness among their subscribers through emails, invoices, SMSs, websites about the use of parental control filters in the end user machines or the devices. Moving on to the last question of Question Hour show, and this one has been asked by member Saroj Pandey and pertains to the Ministry or Department of Atomic Energy. And the member has asked about the number of nuclear power plants functioning in the country at present, and also, more importantly, the percentage of electricity that is being generated through these plants to meet total energy requirements of India.
Really, this question is very important, the way India has committed to move from fossil fuel energy to clean energy. And the government answers, the present installed nuclear power capacity in the country comprises of 22 reactors with a total capacity of 6,780 megawatt. Of these, one reactor, RAPS 100 megawatt, is under extended shutdown for techno-economic assessment. The nuclear power plants contribute about 3% of the total electricity generated in the country. The energy requirement in the country is very huge, and the government says the percentage increase in energy requirement for the country till 2021-22 with respect to energy requirement of 2018-19 is 22.86%. And finally, nuclear power plants are being established along with electricity generating plants of other technologies to meet the electricity requirements of the country. So, it is a mix of energy, that is called energy mix.
So Akhilesh, these were the questions and answers for our viewers in this edition of Question Hour. But on the other side, we'll have Prashn Kal in Hindi with our colleagues Arvind Singh and Kriti Singh. Don't go anywhere.